Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mr. Higgs podcast. We are here getting it in once again, time and time again. Got the new mic. We'll try a little new equipment today and see how that works out. So I'm going to do one show with it, one show without it, see how it works out. All right. So here's the deal. So the Brooklyn Nets are still a dumpster fire of an organization. And I, for one, am not surprised. They have been a dumpster fire since they moved to Brooklyn. And since they had their new ownership, they were bought by some like Russian oligarch, and then it's just pretty much been downhill from there. So they have fired Steve Nash. Again, another thing I am not surprised at, because Steve Nash was never an NBA coach. He was never an NBA coach. He was never an NBA head coach. He was never an NBA assistant coach. He was never a high school coach. He was never a youth coach. He doesn't have a coach bag. He's never done this before. And I just never understand this idea of how somebody was a great player and they're going to turn out to be a great coach. How many times does something have to not work for people to realize that it's not going to work? And I think every time an organization does this, it's usually an organization that's a mess, usually an organization that doesn't have a strong front office, as hiring people that don't have any connections, that wouldn't know a good coach if he fell out of a tree and onto their sideline. And they just go with the big names, and they just assume because this person was a successful player, that this person knows basketball, that person is going to be a great coach. It's literally never happened. It's happened with good players and role players become great coaches. You have to understand something about leagues. The people who have to fight hard to stay in the league, those guys have to study. They have to have discipline. They have to have great work habits. They have to build great relationships with people in order for them to even stay in the league. So yes, they work out as coaches. The guys who are great players, they never had to be organized. They never had to be disciplined. They didn't have to have great relationships. They didn't have to be very professional. Why? Because they're really talented. When you're really talented, people give you more opportunities all the time, no matter how bad you screw up, no matter what you do in your personal life, no matter how dumb you sound, no matter what. We'll dumb down the offense. We'll make it easier for him. We'll bring in another coach. We'll bring in somebody to work on his shot. We'll do all kind of stuff for this person because they're talented. But when they become coaches, they have to be the one to figure out the offense, to make the right plays. They have to be the one to smooth the egos. They have to put people in position to be successful. And that has nothing to do with being a player. It's like asking somebody who's a great chef, hey man, you're a great chef, can you farm? No, I can't farm. That's food related, but it has nothing to do with what I do. Oh, well, you're a great chef. Can you own a restaurant? Well, no, I don't know anything about like management of people and payroll and businesses and rent and all that stuff. So because things are related in a field does not mean that one person can automatically transition from one thing to another, because success at different things requires different skill sets. So please, organizations, get that out of your head. It didn't really surprise me that Steve Nash failed, also because, and I said this when it happened, check the receipts on the show, by the way. I've been saying this for a long time. Bad people pick bad people. That is one of the things that I say all the time. And if you have a bad owner, they're going to not pick great front office people, because great front office people push back. They know what they're talking about. So when the owner or the president goes to tell them something stupid, a person who is a good GM who knows what he's talking about goes, no, don't pick up this, don't draft this guy, draft this guy. No, don't sign that player. I know some people on that organization, they say he's a dumpster fire. No, you don't want to hire that coach. That coach doesn't know what he's doing. But no, a person who knows what they're doing is going to tell you the truth. And the other thing is, a person that knows what they're doing might not even take your job. That's a reason why these organizations don't get any better. The people that know better are not going to work for the Nets. They're not going to work for the Indiana Pacers. They're not going to work for the Orlando Magic. They're not going to work with the Sacramento Kings. So they're going to end up with players, coaches that are overpaid players as free agents to get them in there. Coaches who are legitimate coaching candidates aren't going to take that job because they're really good coaches. I don't have to take your dumpster fire of an organization in the Nets or Sacramento or any other bad organization, because I'm a legit coach. I know what I'm doing. So what do these organizations end up with? They end up with dudes who have never coached before. They end up with guys who the owner trusts or that the president knows or the GM is cool with, and that's the kind of coach they end up with, and that's what happened when you hired Steve Nash. Now, Steve Nash is, from what I understand, a very good man, and he got hired into a like horrible situation where Kyrie Irving, who is completely out there, just space cadet, you never know what he's going to say or do. By the way, he's in trouble for anti-Semitic. Not, I don't know if he made anti-Semitic comments so much as he supported a book or a documentary that did make some, and he endorsed it. You have Kevin Durant, who is a great player, who hasn't pretty much openly said he has no interest in being a leader and just wants to be a baller. You had James Harden, who you basically brought in because you know Kyrie is a flake and James Harden is going to quit on you, not score many buckets in the playoffs, not going to play great defense, and he's going to eat his way out of the league when he off your team. He's at least going to eat his way off your team, show up out of shape, and just be a general pain in the butt until he gets what he wants. You threw these three people together and thought you were going to bring in a coach who's never coached before, and you were going to be successful. This team was the odds-on favorite to win the NBA title last year. They got bounced in the first round. They bounced in the first round. So if you're the Nets got what they had coming because they put together three people who, by the way, people who are letdowns, people who are not good leaders, people who are dumpster fires, even in their personal life. You never know what they're going to say. You never know when they're going to show up. You hired people that aren't professionals. You hired a coach who may be a good person, but is not a professional coach. You threw that all together and was like, well, they're all really talented, so it's all going to work out. And it doesn't work out. It pretty much never does. So the great Maya Angelou said this one time, said, well, when people show you who they are, believe them. Kevin Durant's been showing you who he is. Kyrie Irving's been showing you who he is. Now you got Ben Simmons. He has definitely shown you who he is. They want to play basketball, but they don't want to be professionals, just like everybody else that plays for the Nets. But you get what you get. Bad people pick bad people. Take it easy.